Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News, and with Sentinels season pretty much over, a bit of drama has been coming to light between Zombs and Dapr. After questions have been raised as to whether Zombs was a bit salty after getting dropped from Sentinels, he's now calling Dapr Butthurt after, well, saying that he effectively costed him back in a series against the guards quite a while ago now. But very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that one. Rocketing towards 20k, plenty to dive into. First of all, with regard to this new map, so we know that the 8th map, I guess it is now, or whatever it is, map nowadays, is that, well, coming into the game very soon indeed. This is pretty much the only teaser we have, something underwater. There was rumours about Lisbon or whatever. We'll see how it goes. Now, Lothar has actually tested this one. He says he got invited to the new map tests. See you this Friday on my stream with the new map. So Friday, apparently, that's when everything is going to get revealed. So a few days' time, we are going to see this new map in action, see what kind of the unique element of this map is. Probably got something to do with the water, because that seems to be kind of an evident feature of this map from the hints and the teasers that we have so far. So we shall see if this is any good in just a couple of days' time. This also, Valorant, well, Game Changers, the World Championship, is coming to Berlin. Thought that was rather cool. So the regular champions is in Istanbul this year, right, in Turkey, and the Masters 2 is in Copenhagen, coming up rather soon. But yeah, Game Changers is going to be in Berlin again. That's pretty cool. This is the regions for it, actually. So there's less teams here than in the main circuit, but 2 teams from North America, 1 from Brazil, 1 from Latin America, 2 from EMEA, 1 from East Asia, and 1 from Apex. Pretty cool stuff. We'll see, of course, what the champion of that in, well, November 15th through the 20th. So the season ends in the regular circuits, then the Game Changers kind of championship and stuff kicks up, along with third-party tournaments, while teams figure out, and well, especially a lot of these organizations, what their roster is going to be going into next season, because franchising, a kind of partnership or whatever, is coming into effect. As George Geddes points out, Valorant applications or partnership applications are due this week. We've seen some teams, 100 Thieves, OpTic have mentioned it, TSM have mentioned it, a crew have mentioned it, have said, okay, look, they are applying for partnership, they want to be part of the partner league for, well, next season, of course. They've got to get their paperwork in, right? They've got to review all the applications and decide which teams they want to have for the different regional leagues. So we believe there's going to be, well, apparently either 8 to 10, hopefully at least 10 teams per region. The Americas, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and then the Asia Pacific region, right? There's going to be 10 teams in each region that effectively, if you're not in those leagues, if your organization isn't there, you can't qualify for the Masters events, you can't qualify for Champions. There's not that much to play for in the second tier, theoretically. It's effectively a franchise-esque ecosystem. Lots of people aren't happy about this, right? There are pros and cons to it. We've seen it in many other esports and sports across history as well. It does mean that there's less kind of crazy Cinderella stories where organizations, for example, a crew, come out of nowhere and make a run at a tournament, but it does provide some more stability to the organizations and to the players themselves. So there's definitely some pros and cons. As long as the league expands quite quickly and we get up to potentially 16 teams in each league, I don't think it'll be too bad, but just 10 is very restrictive, right? And it does mean that a lot of organizations currently in Valorant are effectively going to dip out of there. We've already seen it from Luminosity Gaming. Now, well, some more deals I'll say from George Geddes on the situation. $50,000 minimum salaries. That's not per month, as Ekel seem to believe, but rather just per year, which is kind of a standard one for other esports leagues. The Call of Duty League is rather similar, which is a proper franchise league. This is a partnership league where the organizations don't have to pay an entry fee effectively, but actually get compensated in exchange for their kind of, well, recurring support of the scene going forwards. This is just a couple of snippets from this article. I'll leave the entire thing linked for you guys down below, but apparently the deadline is set for around Friday, June 17th. So in a couple of days' time, when the new map apparently is going to be released, all the teams that want to apply have to put in their application for the partnership league, and then it will be reviewed over the next few months. I think he said actually about a month to 6 weeks or so. Apparently that the minimum salary is going to be around $50,000 a year, so not per month, as we'll see here in a second. Also saying that, right now several tier 1 organizations pay anywhere from 10 grand to 20 grand a month in salary, depending on the players. So some players are salaried massively. It's like, I'm sure the salaries aren't going to really go down, particularly as a result of this. The players that are getting paid 10, 20k a month are still going to get paid 10, 20k a month, but it's more like there's just a minimum salary there just to ensure some security. Now, well, apparently it's going to be about a month to 6 weeks where they're going to kind of review all these applications, decide who they want to choose, and then the final selection process will begin around champions towards the end of the year in September. Then after champions, teams that are accepted into the league will likely, of course, make roster changes prior to the start of the league in early 2023. Other organizations may well drop out. I'm sure they will, as we've already seen it, for example, with Luminosity Gaming. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on how this one will develop. But as Lee says from Cloud9, me when franchising hits, right? So yeah, certainly a lot of pro players aren't particularly happy that this is coming in. I'm sure a lot of fans aren't as well. There are pros, there are cons. I'm just hoping Riot managed to do this the right way, and at least the organization names can still remain, as we didn't see in Overwatch League and Call of Duty League, where the teams have to choose a city and then locate there, and it all gets kind of messy and very American sports-like, which I don't think is really necessary in esports, to be honest. Now, as Ekel says, this actually kind kind of formally, briefly at least, of 100 Thieves. I really got them messed up, take me back at Asuna. I think thinking that this was like 50k a month, which would be, of course, 600k a year minimum salary, which would be kind of crazy. Like, you know, as Chet says, yeah, it's per year. If we were making 600k minimum a year, what's going on there? You don't make 600k a year, says Asuna, so imagine he's just messing around. But definitely want to dive into this drama then, right? So we've certainly seen the fact that Zombs, after he got released from Sentinels, he wasn't a particularly happy man, definitely was saying a few things about it on stream after the fact, and now the kind of new Sentinels roster with Kanpeki instead of Zombs, and of course, well, they had a difficult time with Sick and TenZ being ill briefly, but Sick being away for family difficulties, failed to qualify. Of course, they only won one map in the entirety of the regular main event. They failed to qualify for the playoffs. It's looking rather unlikely, almost impossible, not absolutely guaranteed impossible, for them not to make the last chance qualifier to even have a chance at the World Championship. But a couple of days ago, and thanks to you guys for pointing this out to me, because I wouldn't have seen it if it wasn't for a couple of you guys that's sending this my way. And if you guys do see anything that you think would be good to cover, either roster stuff, just like a bit of drama here or there, or whatever you might happen to find, if you either put it in a comment on these videos or like direct message me it on Twitter or something like that, like I'll see it and it's really appreciated. So anyway, Dapr says in Sinatra's chat a couple of days ago, because, well, I'll share the couple of clips here, but effectively Zombs talks about the fact that the guard, Trent's got a nice little 4K, and he says, okay, wow, Trent is unbeatable. And Zombs is like, yeah, okay, he kind of beat us when we played the guards back in stage 1, but it actually wasn't me that he beat, it was actually my team, right? I played good, it was the rest of my team that played pretty poorly. Now, Dapr says, what is Zombs talking about here? When Zombs, I think what he means when the guards beat us, he went -19, and kind of saying, you know, come on, bro, what's going on? So then we'll look at actually the facts behind this in a second here, but then Zombs replies, being like, okay, wow, Dapr's got really butthurt, and then things kind of kick off. So I'll share the clips.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Holy. Yo, you actually can't beat Trent.
Trent went great.
I can beat him. I can beat him.
Wait, he beat you though, no? Wait, what do you mean?
So they cleared the trademark there. That's what Fallon is worried about, and that's why Hayes.
Wait, what are you gonna say? Say it.
This tap
Nothing.
Sheesh.
Should never have happened.
He didn't beat me. He beat my team.
Often praised for his
No.
fundamentals, but that's just
Dapr said, what is Zombs saying? When Zombs beat us, he went -19. Come on,
What does
bro.
that mean when Zombs
Well, I
beat
think he
you?
meant the guard.
Why is Dapr butthurt?
What?
It's okay, bro. You win the match tomorrow?
Whoa, that was cold-hearted.
Oh, that was. Oh, what's going on
He said that
here?
was cold-hearted.
Bro.
Wait, who do they play tomorrow?
Said Zombs talking, then when I say the fact, he gets hurt.
Who's hurt about anything?
Drama!
I was literally.
Jared, personally, I wouldn't take that. Personally, I wouldn't take that.
I was
Shakes
literally
won't take
trolling
that.
and he got mad. I said he didn't beat me, he beat my team.
It's a kind of spicy stuff, to be honest, right? We have kind of wondered what's been going on behind the scenes in the Sentinels camp, because, of course, like, we imagine that Zombs isn't necessarily too happy about the situation. He was asked on a very short-term basis to sub in for Sentinels. Then he effectively said no initially, but he said, okay, next week, if you guys still need me, I'm coming in. And then he said to Raucus, I'll play for you guys. And then Raucus said, actually, no, or maybe the team said, no, we don't even want your services anymore. We're going to play with Raucus as our substitute instead. And of course, they lose every single map they play after that one. It's like, I'm sure Zombs feels kind of hard done by here. He's still on good money. It is what it is. But the relationship between Zombs and Dapr and probably the rest of the team does seem somewhat fractured as a result of this whole situation. This was the series that kind of Dapr was talking about. This is back Friday, March the 18th, during stage 1, when the guard at 2-0 Sentinels. And yeah, Zombs that went 18-27 for a -19 performance. So not really sure what Zombs was getting at right there. The fact that they kind of beat his team rather than himself, because individually Zombs didn't have a great series right here. Stats aren't everything, but stats mean something when you're 18-27. So definitely intrigued to your perspective on this one, right? Of course, look, we expect the Sentinels roster not to kind of, well, be the same if they even do get to the LCQ, or certainly next season if they do, of course, get a franchise spot or a partnership spot, as we expect them to. Like, their roster isn't going to be the same. Whether Zombs comes back to competing with another roster, what the team looks like is Dapr still there, because of course a lot of people are suggesting that Dapr's been playing well lately, but Sick and TenZ probably the two guys that if other organizations are going to try and poach some Sentinels, those are probably going to be the first two to go. As I say, I'd be surprised if ShahZaM's still competing for this roster or just competing in general when next season comes around. But Zombs versus the Sentinels active roster and Zombs versus Dapr specifically is certainly a storyline we'll have to keep our eyes on going forward as well. Definitely wanted to mention this as we kind of come to the end of the video here though, because it is still possible for Sentinels to win champions. I mean, they can't really win it realistically, but it's still possible. But anyway, this is just the key things actually for here to mention to get them to the last chance qualifier, which is Ghost needs to get double rounded. If you guys aren't familiar with this story, effectively Sentinels just about currently have enough points to get to the LCQ, as in they're like the 10th best team in terms of circuit points in North America right now. If though Ghost lose both their series at the playoffs, if Ghost win just one series, they will have enough points from the playoffs performances to overhaul Sentinels, and therefore Sentinels will have nothing to play for. So if Ghost lose to EG and lose to NRG, which is possible albeit rather unlikely given the way they are playing right now, then Sentinels will be at the LCQ and still have a chance. And of course we'll see how that goes, but honestly, like you know, the amount of hopium I've seen is honestly probably going to come to an end very soon indeed, especially when we look at numbers like this. And Weltis Games points out that their top three teams, Ghost, 100 Thieves and OpTic, like OpTic's actually, their offense hasn't been incredibly good, but their defense is pretty much number one. Ghost though number one overall in terms of attack round win percentage, defensive round win percentage as well. They were pretty much the best team this entire stage, at least according to this metric. 100 Thieves there or thereabouts as well. Sentinels, their attack round win percentage is way down the pack, and their defense round win percentage as well is lower than pretty much everyone else. Definitely didn't get helped at all by that series up against Cloud9, but these numbers give a relatively good indication of who are the favourites going into the playoffs here. Ghost, 100 Thieves, OpTic for sure, but if Ghost do get double rounded, then Sentinels at least have a chance to do something. But yeah, wanted to look at this as well actually. I thought this is interesting for a few different reasons from Willminder. This is an eco round win rate, so this is effectively looking at, as he describes, where the credit differential was 12,500, which basically means if it's going to be a thrifty when one of the teams wins the round, then this is what happens. Sentinels have the worst win rate in these situations, only 1 out of 28. The Guard and OpTic aren't too much better though, actually at 2 out of 32, 3 out of 38. FaZe, Cloud9, they have a pretty decent percentage right here. What I thought was rather interesting is that I think like 86% of the times the anti-eco wins, but of course there is a percentage where you do get ecoed, but I feel like a lot of this from OpTic might just be that some of these teams like to force by a bit much, maybe too often than they should. And OpTic often when they do lose a crucial round, will just be like, okay, look, let's just fully save, don't buy anything, just have the classic, and then effectively just win very few of those rounds, but have more money, right? So there's obviously a battle to be played there as to whether teams decide to like full eco effectively, which OpTic do an awful lot, therefore their round win percentage in those situations is very low, and the classic's still a good gun regardless and can win you, 2 out of 32 situations, or whether you're one of these other teams that force buys a bit more often, but actually it might not be a great idea, or half buys right in the case of a thrifty, I suppose. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, tell us your YouTube gods, it's a good video, I just like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Valorant community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.